This is Simo and his ultimate suffering. This is also him taking out 500 of his enemies and him getting insanely unlucky. I guess many of you know what this is, but how did we get here? We just got Simo's flashback in Record of Ragnarok, how this mad lad became known as the White Death, and showings that resulted in him being chosen by Brunhilde as the only human capable of defeating Loki. Record of Ragnarok chapter 102 is here. Simo has, for the most part, lived up to many people's hype and expectations during his introduction and first showing in round 11 against Loki. Some concerns about his ability revealed and mindset with some suffering we'll get into shortly, but here we see the true danger of facing the White Death. Therefore, welcome boys. Today I'm breaking down the full chapter of 102 for the Record of Ragnarok manga that just came out in raw format with some translations from this mad lad, something that made this legend even more goated in the series. But previously, as a quick reminder, Simo countered Loki's insane summoning based ability by sacrificing his kidney for this next level attack and loaded up his liver for the next one, something very dangerous for Loki throughout this match. While the Norse god had many reveals of his own, but hints that there's much more to come. But looking at what was shown in the flashback, we have Simo in a tree once again, similar to his current setup against Loki, meaning he's indeed in trouble in the next attack. But as expected for Simo's flashback, it involves Finland's World War II battle with the Soviet Union, where Simo took out over 500 soldiers with his own weapons, mostly being his iconic iron sight sniper, with us seeing him literally farm the soldiers from this tree, restating the previous claim of 100% accuracy that we learnt about him during his introduction, seemingly a major aspect of his character and likely throughout this fight with Loki. But those of you history dudes can have a read of this for the full setup and insight of this battle being adapted into the Record of Ragnarok manga right now. But the OP nature of Simo during this war was demonstrated without a doubt, resulting in the other Finnish soldiers praising him. But the dark reality is shown shortly, something we may have got hints at already, but apologies for having no camera today. This dude Mysterious Chad stole it for his regular Blue Lock videos, therefore make sure to subscribe there for those I guess. And let's have a look at why Simo looks like this and some other reveals you don't want to miss out on. So first up, the nature of him being incredibly overpowered sniper wise, pure skill has been shown without a doubt. However, the PTSD, the impact of all this killing he had to do is the main issue facing Simo throughout this battle. Regardless of all the praise from his fellow Finnish soldiers, he cannot sleep, thinks about every shot he had to unleash, and is getting greatly mentally impacted from this war. This is of course in conjunction to what we learnt about him previously after he unleashed the first attack against Loki, and why his Reaper based ability with his Valkyrie is something he more so wants, the ability to suffer when unleashing a blow, something he would go without doing if he had a choice, but this is his atonement for what he's done. Highlighting him almost, or for the most part, getting mentally broken every time he pulls the trigger, every time he hits an enemy, but is able to continue doing it with no problem at all. Highlighting that this mad lad is truly built different to many degrees. But then we see how an unfortunate incident occurred. When Simo was approaching the end of the battle, he'd already pretty much got over 500 confirmed kills with his sniper at this point, but a random bullet from a Soviet soldier was able to hit him directly. Throughout the Record of Ragnarok manga here seems to be portrayed as a regular bullet. The real world history in regards to Simo, it was regarded as an explosive bullet, and that's what officially and actually happened to Simo during the war. A similar thing occurring right here. Once again, connecting to pretty much his atonement for what he had done. His salvation, a common theme for Simo's character throughout his introduction in Record of Ragnarok so far, with us cutting to the future within his flashback when the war had already concluded and Simo had suffered these insane injuries, chilling with his dog, which of course he walked out with during the battle. Something that seems to be the conclusion of Simo's flashback for this manga. I doubt we're going to get another one, of course it's always possible, but I think this is enough, with the final panel of his flashback claiming that Simo's record was 542 kills, the most in human history, with the narrator reclaiming that he is indeed the greatest sniper in human history, who shot further than anyone else, a man kinder than anyone as well, highlighting to a further extent just who this man was. But when looking at his flashback closely, we see that regardless of him not wanting to unleash these blows, when he was taken out, he was thinking, I can't accept this can't be how it ends, highlighting that he'll do anything for the sake of his fatherland and his fellow people. But the question is, what is our mad lad going to do against Loki with his next attack? One that involved him sacrificing his liver and has had many people theorize that it's going to be more powerful than the previous. One that was absolutely crazy and involved him sacrificing his kidney. So boys, a 10% discount is available for all these GameStop flavors available for you. Check it out, link at the top of the description. Everything helps the channel greatly. But before going over that, we have some bad and unfortunate news. Apparently the leaker didn't get all of the pages, there's a few ones left, meaning what he does against Loki here could be in those, and that will come likely tomorrow sometime. So when they do come, I'll either make an adjustment to this video or write an updated pinned comment, or I would be streaming tomorrow as a Record Ragnarok mobile game will be releasing in around 20 to 24 hours, which is pretty cool. Only in Japanese at first, the English version is coming in a few months after that, but there is indeed more to this chapter. Alongside the new Record of Ragnarok, the Apocalypse of the Gods chapter releasing as well, something that features the setup of the next two fighters and the wild demon which has been introduced in the previous chapter that I broke down in this video. And if any of you are interested in some people who have issues with Simo and Record of Ragnarok and his current portrayal, check out this one as well. And of course, shout out to the channel members, these absolute mad lads, and all the other stuff in the description you guys can find as well. Thanks for watching.